my book and wax friends. I am Amber. Welcome to my channel. I post about all things books and home fragrance, so I am happy to have you here with me. Today's video is a book tag that Chelsea from Libraries and Lattes tagged me in. It is a rapid fire book tag, so I haven't even really looked at these questions because we're supposed to, answer them just off the top of our head type of thing. We'll see how well I do, because I am not one that's good at coming up with things off the top of my head, as you can tell while I'm talking to you. But we're just going to go with it and see what happens. So, question number one, and if I remember, hopefully I'll remember, I'll put the question down here. The question is ebook or physical book, and that one is an easy one for me. Physical book, as you can see, all the books behind me. I am not an ebook reader at all. I have tried a few times to read on my iPad and when I used to have a Kindle and stuff, but it's just not for me. There's just something about holding a book in my hand that I just adore. So absolutely physical book. Next is paperback or hardback. I am 100% a hardback lover. My mother was an antique dealer, so she got me into collecting like old antique and vintage books, which, tell me if you want me to do a little highlight on my vintage Oz books that I've collected over the years. So anyway, a lot of those books are hardback and they keep better. Hardcover definitely keep better than paperback. So I much prefer hardcover to paperback. I do have some paperbacks because there are some books that just won't come out in hardcover. I haven't been able to find them, and so I have no choice but to get them in paperback, but 100% hardback for sure. Okay, the next question is online or in-store book shopping. I'm pretty 50-50. I feel like most of my purchases end up being online because I do purchase a lot. I get a lot of my books are book subscriptions, special edition boxes, and I do, if the UK version of a book is better, in my opinion, than the US version, I will purchase the UK, which obviously being in America, I can't go to the local bookstore across the pond and get the book. So I do purchase online. So I do feel like, I guess, that online is more often than in store, but I do purchase in store as well. Okay, question 4, trilogies or series. And I'm assuming that means more than 3 then, when it says series. And that one is so hard because when I fall in love with books, I love to be with those characters through multiple books. But I also like books that will wrap up really nicely just within 3 books, or even duologies. Sometimes duologies I do like, especially if some series feel like, some trilogies feel like they could have been wrapped up in 2 books, that the second book in a trilogy felt like a filler. So some duologies are really good, but overall, because when it's a series I love and I get super attached to characters, I think I prefer the longer series. So I guess that's what my answer would be. So, but I do love all lengths. My least favorite is standalone, but sometimes standalones are good. That might be a question later. We'll see. Okay. Question 5 is heroes or villains. I'm always a hero fan and over a villain fan. Not that I don't like a good villain, but it's not that I root for the villains. Much rather root for the heroes and the side of good. But I do like a morally gray character in that underneath everything, they are actually good. But they seem like they're a villain. So I do really enjoy that. But overall, Heroes definitely would be my choice. Then question 6 is a book you want everyone to read. Oh, well, I just have to say, because I talk about it all the time, this is the third book, is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Absolutely adore this series. Read it for the first time last year, and I've reread it twice now. I think no matter what kind of reader you are, what kind of genre you are, as far as reading goes, I think you'll really love this trilogy. And so, anyway, this is the one that I've always been blabbing about since I read them last year. And they're my babies right now. So definitely I have to go with that one. Okay, then the 7th question is recommend an underrated book. Let's see, underrated. Okay, I'm going to go with another fantasy trilogy. I just don't see a lot of people talking about this trilogy. And I think it is a great trilogy. It came out like 2000, the first book came out in 2013. And it is I think it was called the Elemental trilogy. But the first book is called The Burning Sky. It is by Sherry Thomas. She is more known for romance. She's like a romance author. But this series is a YA fantasy series. It is like a historical fantasy. There's romance in it. There's magic. There's a chosen one. There's a really good villain in it. It is a fun series. I highly recommend it. First book is called The Burning Sky. Second book is called The Perilous Sea, and the last book is called The Immortal Heights. So highly recommend that series. It is underrated for sure, at least now. When it first came out, a little less underrated. People knew about it more, but now that it's over 10 years old, a lot of people don't know about it. Okay, question 8 is the last book you finished. That would have to be The Lovely War by Julie Berry. Just finished this one, and spoiler alert, I loved it. And stay tuned for my wrap up. I thought it was wonderful. So good. So that is definitely the last book I finished. I am almost done with Mistborn as well. Loving that one too. But yes. Okay. Question 9 is the last book I bought. The last book I bought is actually being delivered today, which is the next in the beautiful floral edition of the Anne of Green Gables series. So it is Anne of Windy Poplars. I think it's the 4th book. I think it's Windy Poplars. That is the next one coming to me, but since I don't have that one to show, and I will be doing a book haul, so you'll see this one again. The Enemy's Daughter by Melissa Poet, and look at how beautiful this edition is. This again, like I was talking about in regards to the UK versus US covers, this was the UK edition, and I like it way better than the US cover, so I got this edition. So anyway, so there's that one as well. I wanted to share one that I physically had on me. Okay, the next question 10 is weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark. I'm very picky in that regards, again, stemming back to my mother being an antique dealer. I'm very careful with my books, and so I don't put things that are like super bulky in them that are gonna ruin the spine in any way or the book in any way. So probably like a piece of paper, a receipt, that sort of thing. Not very original, but I don't want to ruin my books. So, yeah. Okay, the 11th question is used books, yes or no? Yes, I do enjoy getting used books. Again, goes back to I collect vintage Oz books specifically, but used, they have to be in good condition. Again, going back to the book collecting, I won't purchase a book if it looks raggedy, unless it's my only option, like with my vintage Oz books, but I try to get in as good of condition as possible. But I am not one that won't buy new books because, again, I am a collector. I love the collecting aspects of special editions, that sort of thing. So I guess the answer is both for that one. Oh yes, used books. So yes to used books. Okay, question 12, top 3 favorite genres. Fantasy, number 1. And I guess you could put, like, I always like a romance in my books, but it doesn't have to be like romantasy to where it's like the main plot, but I'm always a fan of love. And so I always like to have a couple to root for. I have a romantic heart, so I still say that I would probably put that still in the fantasy genre. So instead of saying romantasy separately, but then I would probably, so if we're counting that in with fantasy, I would probably then say historical romance would be my second favorite genre, and classics my third favorite. Yeah, if we're counting romantasy in fantasy, that's how it would go for sure. So those 3. Okay, then let's see. Wait, what? Yeah. For a second there, I thought I had skipped question. Okay, question 13, borrow or buy. I try to borrow as much as possible. I use my library, unless it's an author that I know that I'm really going to enjoy their books. I am more of a borrow from the library, and then if I end up loving it, then I will purchase it. But with my special edition sprayed edge book subscriptions, that's been happening a little less. I mean, I'm still borrowing from the library. I do it every month. But I'm also buying more books because of the special edition subscriptions that I have. But overall, I try to check out from the library first. And then if I love it, I'll purchase it. So, all right. Question 14 is character or plot. Ooh, that's hard because I do love both. But I feel like if I have to pick between the two, probably character driven over plot driven, because I like to have depth to the characters. I like to be able to care about the characters and get really attached to them. And so to me, that feels more important than the plot. But I love having a really good plot that it's full of adventure and fast-paced and all that sort of thing. Again, fantasy is my favorite genre, so. All right, question 15, long or short books. This kind of stems back to the whole series thing. That one's hard because a lot of fantasy series that I love are longer, but can we say mid books? I like both, that's the problem. So I think probably shorter, just because then I can get to more books. But again, I like the books to have depth to them in regards to the characters especially. So anyway, I guess that's my answer. But let's say mid-sized, even though that wasn't an option. Mid-sized books. Okay, question 16 is long or short chapters. 100% shorter chapters. Drives me nuts when a chapter is long because I like to try and finish a chapter before I stop. When I need to stop reading, I want to finish the chapter. It bugs me when I have to finish in the middle somewhere. Well, I don't ever end in the middle of the book, or almost never, the middle of the page. But absolutely 100% short chapters, because then I feel also fulfilled, like, oh, I'm getting through the book. Whereas when the chapter is super long, it feels like, even if the page number would be the same, it feels like, oh, it's taking forever for me to get through this book type of thing. And I notice it more than I would with a shorter chapters. So yeah, anyway, short chapters. Then question 17 is name the first 3 books you think of. Oh my gosh. Mistborn, because I just mentioned that. Gone with the Wind, and let's see, what, I'm just trying to, off the top of my head, think of something. Wizard of Oz, that came to me. So there we go. Let's see. Question 18 is books that make you laugh or cry. I am very tender-hearted, and so it's hard for me when I have a book that makes me cry. Actually, Lovely War did make me cry a couple times. Well, more than a couple times, even a few times. But if we're talking about preference, because I'm tender-hearted and things hit me really hard and easily, I would much prefer to laugh over the crying. So I'll go with laugh. All right. Question 19 is our world or fictional worlds? 100% fictional worlds. As I said, fantasy is my favorite. So I prefer fantasy worlds over our world. I don't mind like historical fantasy. I do enjoy that genre as well, which is, again, I consider in the fantasy genre. But 100% fantasy. Okay, or fictional worlds. Audiobooks, yes or no? Now, if you asked me this a few months ago, I would say no, but the last month or so, I have started listening to audiobooks a little bit more, as I'm like driving around and stuff, picking up kids and, you know, running errands rather than listening to music, which is usually what I would do. I've been listening to audiobooks, and that's actually what I was listening. Lovely War I was listening to on audio, and I've been enjoying doing that. So still no, if I'm talking about preferring to physically read or not, or listen. If I'm between those two, I would pick physical book, but I have been enjoying listening to audiobooks. So it's not a full-on hard no anymore. Not that I ever thought that audiobooks wasn't reading. It's just I really like to read with my eyes over reading with my ears. But I do think audiobooks have a place for me now where I wasn't into them before. So I have enjoyed that a lot more for sure. Okay, I just lost. Okay, question 21. Do you ever judge a book by its cover? Yes, all the time. In that, if it has a pretty cover, I'll look at it. I don't like cover by in that, oh, it's a beautiful cover, let me get it, without reading what the book's about, because I do still do that. But my initial, like, being drawn to a book, if it's a beautiful cover, I will look at it. But that doesn't take away from the value of what's inside the pages. And you can have a beautiful book, and then the book ends up being not good for you. But yeah, I judge a book by its cover, but that doesn't mean that what's on the inside doesn't have merit if the cover isn't the most appealing. And I will pick up books even if it doesn't have the best cover, but it looks like it's going to be an interesting story. I will still read them. I'm not like anti-reading them just because the cover isn't a very good cover. But especially when we're talking about books that I want to get in my own collection, I always try to find covers that are the most appealing for me, which again is why I got this version of The Enemy's Daughter, because I love the look of it more than the US cover, or the fact that I'm collecting new versions of the Anne of Green Gables series because I loved these versions the most. Again, even though it's paperback, I'm not very happy about that, but these were the versions that I liked out of everything I've searched for with the whole series. That was the version I liked the best. So yeah, anyway, that's my answer. Then question 22, movie to book or movie to TV adaptations. That one's hard because you can fit so much more in TV series from a book than you can in a movie adaptation. But there's something so satisfying as seeing a beloved book on the big screen. It feels more epic. And if it's done right, then it can be wonderful, like the Lord of the Rings series, especially the extended edition. Those were wonderful, and I will always love them. And those were, movies. Whereas the Rings of Power on Amazon is a TV series adaptation of some of J.R.R. Tolkien's extra works, like from the Silmarillion and some other things. Plus they put their own stuff in it. And that really, honestly, is only okay as far as series, in my opinion. I haven't even watched the second season. And so there's good and bad to both. So I feel like if it stays true, or as true as possible to the source material, then either can be good. But as someone that, again, loves being with characters, if I'm attached to them for longer periods of time, then I would probably have to say TV adaptation, as long as it is done right. So anyway, long answer. I told you I can't give like short rapid fire answers. It's just not in my nature to do so. Okay. The 23rd question is a movie or TV adaptation you preferred more than the book. The one that always comes to my mind is The Princess Bride. I saw that movie first. It was one of my all-time favorite movies. And maybe if I read the book first, I would feel differently. But it's been like 5 or so years ago I read the book, and the book's not very good, in my opinion, compared to the movie. Movie was way better. You get a lot in the book, a lot of like breaking the fourth wall type of things, in that the author of the book has a lot of commentary about what's actually happening in the story of The Princess Bride, and he's pretending like he's reading or translating from the original story by this author. It's really him as an author, like in real life, but this fake author that he's reading the book from, or translating it, or something like that. I didn't like that. Whereas with the movie, you have, just the story, and then you have that connection with the grandpa reading the story to narrating the story for his grandson. And I love that aspect of it too. So yes, definitely Princess Bride movie was superior to the Princess Bride book, in my opinion. Okay, 4th. Okay, this was what I mentioned earlier. It is a question. Series or standalone? Series, 100%. Again, I like to be with characters if I fall in love with them. I like to see their growth and development throughout the books that you just don't get as much in standalones. And so 100% series. Then 25, tag some people. So I never know who's done this tag. And so it's hard for me to tag people. But I will leave the tags down below. I'll try and do a little search and see if you've done this. But if I don't tag you and you feel like you want to do this tag, please feel free. Or leave me any comments down below as to some of these answers. I'm always interested and I like interacting with you guys. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And until next time, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.